Anyway, yeah, look, I saw Andor. It wasn't something that like I was like offended by. Look, Star Wars has had scenes of torture in it, right? Quite a lot. Not always played for comedy, right? Princess Leia was tortured in Star Wars. Han Solo was tortured in Empire Strikes Back, and a cute robot was comedy tortured in Return of the Jedi. Right. So and look, Andor is not a show that's like Star Wars, right? It's in the Star Wars universe, but it's not. It's certainly not. It doesn't have the Star Wars flavor, right? And yeah, that's probably why the biggest problem Star Wars has right now. It doesn't know. It doesn't have an identity anymore. Weirdly, right? They've done so many shit versions of Star Wars. Nobody knows what is Star Wars anymore. When it was like the original three movies, oh, that's Star Wars. They did a prequel trilogy, and it felt like that stretched it a little bit too far, right? But it's still like, okay, I think that's as far as you get. And then you had the sequel trilogy, boom, everything's gone. But you had all these different, again, tonally, it's very, very different. Here, let's look at all the different Star Wars shows they've done. Hang on, let me pull this up. Disney Star Wars shows. Man, there's been a lot of them. Here, this is list of Star Wars series. Star Wars, all those wacky Star Wars. When will they end? Down, down, down. If you know where that's from, you know where that's from. Dying. Yeah, okay, fine. Look, we're not talking about Ewoks and droids. Let's do from right. So it all started on what was on Netflix? Clone Wars, Rebels, no, Resistance. Bad Batch I actually liked a lot. Wait, these are animated ones. I don't animated. Oh, what's this? Clone Wars? No. Do we have live action? There you go. Fine. So, I mean, look. After we had like the we had a few awful movies. After we had The Last Jedi, everyone feeling a bit forlorn about Star Wars, right? I think Force Awakens felt like a Star Wars movie, right? It moved along at a nice pace, and it felt like it had that DNA. Now I think The Mandalorian also felt like it was in that Star Wars universe, right? But this was right after what's it called again? The Last Jedi. So I think any return to form everyone was very happy about. Book of Boba Fett, absolute shit. Right? Again, totally different tone. It seemed to be rudderless. And then you had a totally different tone again for Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was like, firstly, Book of Boba Fett was kind of like a comedy crime thing. And yeah, none of it really worked, right? None of it really worked. Obi-Wan Kenobi, again, was very angst-driven. You had like it was all about the angry black woman. Oh, what a shock. It was made in 2022. Right? Who's the stunning and bravest, bestest ever. 1 second. Then you had, but again, that had a much closer tone. So that was somewhere between Andor, and that was somewhere between Mandalorian and Star Wars. Right, then you had Andor, apart from you had all the Princess Leia shit, which was awful. Then Andor, which I'm sorry, the first 6 episodes were absolutely like a nightmare. Right, genuinely a nightmare. Oh God, it's hard to evaluate them, but it's much more of they're going for more of a Game of Thrones in space in Star Wars, I should say. Right, then you had Ahsoka, which again you thought was going to get that Mando vibe, but didn't. It just went shit, right? It basically focused on a live action Rebels, which didn't really do much for me. Acolyte, again, something totally different. The Skeleton is something totally different. There's no consistent feel for what a Star Wars movie is now, right? Okay, but so Andor, like it in of itself, it's hey Millie, that you get doing that again. It's not bad, right? And it does feel like it could take place in the Star Wars universe. It's just kind of... It's got a totally different focus. It was a very like ground level Star Wars, right? Street level Star Wars. Anyway, the whole so I put it on last night. I think I watched the first 10 minutes, right? And then I'll probably get bored and move on to something else. I was amazed in that it held my attention for the full episode, like really genuinely. And I went back and I watched episodes 2 and 3, which are all the ones that have been released so far. And I enjoyed it, right? It zipped along. It didn't drag. I didn't look at my phone. Genuinely, it was good storytelling, right? Good storytelling that I was somewhat invested in. So it gets a lot of kudos for me for that. Absolutely. Like, you don't see that very often. The story... man, I'm just saying I could release this as a what's the name, as a video, but I got the wrong graphic up. Maybe I'll release a video. I'll just put a different Andor graphic over it. Right, that might be the way I go. Anyway. As for the story, it says it starts off 1 year later. I don't really remember the details of last year that much. It was in prison towards the end of it, which I liked a lot. And then he escaped, and he went to work for the rebellion. So you got quite a fun little plot of him stealing a super cool TIE fighter. And then he ends up on the rendezvous planet, and his rendezvous is dead, and a band of deserted, desperate people are like holding him captives, and so that's basically where he is for the first 2 episodes, and it works quite well, right? I thought, especially the end of episode 1, it ended on quite a good cliffhanger. Then you got the my favorite characters are the creepy Imperial people, right? So you have like this obsessed cop who was chasing Andor through most of last season 1. And now you got this other one, and so he ended up marrying this, he ended up hooking up with this Imperial security analyst, right? Who's really cool, right? It starts off with the guy from Rogue One, the guy in all white, whatever his name is, who ends up getting killed in Rogue One, the Imperial dude, saying, like, having a secret meeting, saying they're gonna like strip mine and destroy this planet. I couldn't tell what planet it was. I sort of got the feeling it was Mon Mothra's planet, right? It seems like it could, like, but I'll have to go back and listen to it. So they got this like final solution they're drawing up, and she's there with her boss, which I like a lot, right? And again with the Federation Gestapo like security minutiae of how I find that interesting. Anyway, so you had the sad sack who hooked up with her at the last year. You didn't know if they hooked up or not. No, they are definitely living together now, and it's got this weird scene where they have the sad sack's mother over for a meal, and eventually when her boyfriend, husband, whatever it is, goes out the room because she can't stand his mother anymore. Says, "Okay, here's the deal. I'll make sure he comes and visit twice a month, and we can maintain relations, but you've got to stop being a cunt," essentially. And again, that's a sort of like domestic scene, which I quite like. Like, for me, it works. And then you got this third. Is there any? No, there you got a whole other thread with Mon Mothra, in this like on a swanky home planet, being with her daughter getting married, and I think having what's his name, good actor, the guy who played Callan in Big Finish as Callan. I can't remember his name. I do like him though. He's somewhat threatening them, and then Varada Sethu shows up at the end, looking super hot. Varada Sethu has been put through like a super sexy hot machine, right? I don't know how she got so hot, but she's definitely on my radar now. So that going on, and the rape scene here was talking about, and again, I don't understand why it's a big deal because it fits into the ethos of this show, right? And I think it's no less Star Wars than anything. I mean, like, at least this is like competent in storytelling terms, right? So there's the other thread is friends of Andor are on this planet illegally. They're illegal immigrants, I guess. And the the Empire is showing up to do an audit. And you get the evil Imperial officer essentially, like stalking this woman who's a friend of Andor's, looks very, very hot. And is it rape? I mean, he certainly wants to fuck her. That's very true. But I think he wants it to be like she'll just go along with it. It didn't seem like he was into the violence. Well, it got more violent as it got closer to the actual event, which didn't actually happen, right? So, it was very similar to the attempted rape scene in Braveheart, right? For me, it was a nothing burger. It was PG-13, right? I don't understand why people are as freaked out by it as it is. Look, if you don't like Disney Star Wars, I understand. That's totally understandable. But there's a lot not to like with Disney Star Wars, which I agree with you completely, right? A second. I think, look, criticize the things that are bad. Don't just criticize freaking everything, right? And that's where I am with Doctor Who as well. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.